it's Martina, your local real estate agent, also known as Move with Martina. It's Thursday, 1 o'clock, and I have another great guest for you today. Ta-da!
Hello!
Thank you so much, Suzanne. Can you tell us who you are and what you do?
Sure, Martina. I am Susanne Dominick. I work with Home Savings and Trust Mortgage. I'm a loan officer. I've been with Home Savings for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I have been in the business for quite a long time,
Right.
A little over 30 years. And I do have an underwriting background. So a loan officer for 5 years, but I'm with my underwriting background, I'm really able to kind of help clients with structuring loans.
Great.
That might be more complicated.
Awesome. So can you tell us a path? How did you get to this position? What were you doing before?
Well, I graduated from college with a finance degree, and prior to going to college, I was my father was in the Army, so I moved around a lot, and I was always fascinated with homeownership because we never owned a home as a family, and decided to get into the mortgage business. I loved it. I've been in it for a long time, and I'm very passionate about helping people buy a house.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to ask you about your fun story. Before we get to it, I just want to say one fun fact that we have, which is that this is actually our first time that we're meeting in person. We have worked on so many deals and helped so many clients, but we actually have never seen each other in person.
I know. It's very nice to put a face to the voice.
Okay, but back to you. What is your fun story?
Well, I think it boils down to the passion that I have for real estate because of how I grew up. And I lived a number of years in Germany. And I just think, when I came to this country on visits that you had to be really rich to buy a house, and you really don't. And so really passionate about that home ownership and helping clients become first-time home buyers or buying their second or third home.
Right. So what is there an insider tip that you would give to our viewers, potential buyers?
So just something really high level. I would probably say, based on, just talking to so many different clients over the years, is that you don't have to have money to buy a house. I often hear where someone says they can't buy a house, they don't have 20% down.
Right.
You literally can buy a house with no money down. And also credit. Even if you have some credit issues, you may still be able to buy a house. So it's really important to get with a good agent and Martina and a loan officer that can review credit and maybe have a plan for you. So those would be the 2 tips that I would bring up.
Good. And one of the reasons why I want to have you today here, because we want to talk about VHDA. So can you give us a little bit of background? What is VHDA? How can that help our clients?
Okay, absolutely. So when Martina says VHDA, it's the State Housing Finance Agency, and every state has their own version of it. And in Virginia, we have Virginia Housing Development Authority, so VHDA. It's a wonderful program for buyers that have no money, or they can maybe even possibly qualify for a grant. So a no money option would be they can borrow not only the first mortgage, but they can get a loan for the down payment, even some closing costs. So I kind of go back to what I mentioned before, is you really don't have to have a lot of money. So that's a wonderful program. They have the grant program, which is where it's hard to believe, but it's true. Virginia Housing Development Authority actually gives money away. So I really love that program too. And through all of this, they have what's called a mortgage credit certificate, where you have to qualify it, and there are income maximums for it, but you get to write off 20% of your interest that you would ordinarily pay and write off on your taxes, dollar for dollar off your tax liability. That's amazing. So that is a really, really huge benefit. So there's a number of really good things with the VHDA program. It's really important to get pre-qualified for it. They do have an education requirement.
Right.
You can do it online or a classroom, which we talked about earlier. And it's a wonderful thing. The education, I hear really good things about it after people have completed it.
Yes.
They're good for 2 years, so you can even do it early. If you wanted just to go online, VHDA.com, they do have the education components there, and it's free, which is even better.
And even if you don't want to really necessarily or don't need to use that program, the education is so in depth and it really prepares you for the home ownership. Because when you're transferring from renting to owning, it's not the same thing. You don't have the same responsibilities, you don't have the same options. So it's great education to have, just to know what everything is involved
Yep.
and how to care
Yep.
for your home and for your financing. So that's a great program, and we were just talking about it before that we were going to be planning one, most likely towards the end of October, so stay tuned for the exact date, but we are going to be teaching it. Yeah, we're going to have a couple more people in there, so stay tuned. If you just want to know a little more about the program or about home ownership, feel free to come. You're going to learn a lot of information, and if you're ready to purchase, then we can move forward and see if that plan will qualify for you and get you house. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
I'll have all your contact information below, so if people want to contact you or find more information, they can go directly to you.
Okay.
And I'll see you next week, guys. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.